Today we're gonna talk about different topics. So first we're gonna touch about updates in Instagram apps and then Snapchat apps, and then we're gonna talk a bit about Slack acquisition by Salesforce. It's a super huge deal. So let's dive into it. So I'm on first updates, which is getting a lot of attention, is that Instagram updated its mobile messaging app called Threads. So Threads was basically a separate app from Instagram, and the idea of it was that you can just basically communicate with very close list of your friends. So you can just create stories and messages, but you won't be sending them to all your Instagram feed. You will be just sending them to specific list of your friends. So that idea didn't take off, and basically just recently Instagram changed this Threads app, and then the Threads app appeared in the top charts of App Store. So now the main redesigned version, of course, it's just easier navigation, but there is a new tab which is called Everyone Else. It means that you can share your stories and videos not just with your close friends, but also with everyone else. So that's the main idea. So with these changes, Threads is stepping away from just being an app that is only supposed to be used to keep in touch with close friends. And Threads update sets a revision cycle for the Facebook family of mobile messaging applications, which includes Messenger and Instagram itself. So I'm just reading from digitalinformationworld.com. So that's that. Another updated feature, just revamped design and everything. So go try out this updated Threads app. It's actually super simple, but it's quite fun. So try it out. I also have some videos about it on my YouTube channel. Another thing is that Facebook introduced a feature which is called Watch Together. You can now see different movies and series on Instagram and Facebook. And there are even new series created by Post Malone. Which are coming exclusively to Messenger and Instagram through Messenger's Watch Together. So you just need to start a video chat in Instagram or Messenger, or create a Messenger room. In Messenger video chat, just swipe up to access the menu and select Watch Together, and then select TV and Movies tab. So that's the idea, that you can start watching different movies, clips, all of that with your friends on Messenger or Instagram. So it seems kind of similar to House Party or Zoom. So I think that's the way that Facebook tries to enter the competition with with Zoom and all these big apps regarding video streaming. Also, there is another app called Rave, House Party, which are just focusing on interaction and watching different movies and streams together with friends. So try it out. It's just also a new update from Facebook. Another big update, which is called Snapchat Spotlight. It was released in the end of November. And the idea of it is that it's Snapchat version of TikTok. So now you can post short videos, which are called spotlights. And there in Snapchat, there is a separate tab in the bottom right. And then you can just start creating these snaps. And when you're creating a snap, you can post it to the spotlight section. So that's pretty cool. And you can add music, and you can add all of the features which are kind of pretty similar to TikTok. But the requirements for like Snapchat Spotlight are pretty high. So I also created a few videos on my channel. You can check them out. But I tried to post few like spotlights, and they are not accepted. They were not like of the highest quality, just some random videos. So yeah, to be accepted in the Snapchat Spotlight, you need to have really like high quality content. You can't just post some like random stuff, and yeah, only after that you will be accepted. So yeah, try it out. It's not available in all countries right now. I think only in like United States and few European countries, but I think they will be rolling out in more countries around the world. So like Australia, Canada, Denmark, France, Germany, New Zealand, Norway, that kind of countries. Norway, Sweden, UK, United States. And then there is Spotlight's 1 million USD a day. So yeah, submit your best video snaps to Spotlight and you can earn a share of more than 1 million, which is available for creators every day. So if your Spotlight is really great, then they can send you some cool some money, and you will just be notified via Snapchat communications. So there you have it. Can you guys hear me? Is mic working? I'm just asking here on the live stream. Okay, and then the biggest news last is that like Salesforce bought Slack earlier this week for 27.7 billion. It's a major news because I think there were a lot of rumors of Slack being acquired from either Google or Microsoft or all others, these giant companies. And then when the rumors went recently that there were some legends that Slack was being acquired, like the Slack stock went up. So yeah, and Salesforce is one of the biggest CRMs. I think it's the biggest CRM in the world. So CRM is customer relationship management. I just needed to look it up. So basically it's just like some system software for salespeople to better organize sales and all different marketing, just operation and all of that. So yeah, if you've been in San Francisco, you know that like Salesforce Tower is actually really closely located to Slack headquarters. It's just, I think it's like a few hundred meters away. So I maybe, of course, like executives from these companies just know each other. I don't know. And so I was actually watching Dreamforce, just the Dreamforce part of this year presentation. So Dreamforce is kind of a yearly major conference organized by Salesforce. And yeah, this year, obviously, it was online. And yeah, I was watching like Mark Benioff part and where he was presenting Stuart Butterfield and also Salesforce president and CEO Brad Taylor. So like Mark Benioff told that it was actually Brad Taylor's and Stuart Butterfield's idea with bringing Slack to Salesforce. So yeah, some interesting facts. It was spotlighted on Twitter when one of the founders of some designer or developer firms called Andrew Wilkinson, I guess. He was writing a thread about that his company actually developed the first MVP, the first prototype of Slack, and instead of being paid by stock, what he was offered, he was paid by like $60,000, and he just explains in his Twitter thread that it was his decision, and his company was actually the first user of Slack. So you can find it at Wilkinson on Twitter, and the company was called MetaLab, and it was the first beta user. He writes, there was something addictive about it. He's talking about Slack. It was fun to use for some reason, better than the other products, but I didn't invest. I felt the writing was on the wall, tough market, established competition, etc. I played it conservative and taking the cash. It's never obvious, even when you're on the ground floor. That was dumb. So some people estimate if he would take the stock out of that deal, he would make like 60 million or something like that. But you can never guess because it's quite tough. So you can read that. That's an interesting view, and there are lots of different like interesting facts about this deal. So, for example, if you noticed, Slack doesn't own the original Twitter handle at Slack. They use Slack HQ, and then there is some other guy who just owns it, who is called Matt Slack, and he has in his Twitter description, "I'm not a real-time messaging, archiving, and search for modern teams." And then on December 1st, the day of the acquisition, he just posted, "It's a quiet day. Maybe I should take a look at my Twitter mentions," because obviously a lot of people just mentioned at Slack on Twitter. And then Stuart Butterfield just replied, "I feel like we have been on a wonderful adventure together over the years, Matt." And Matt replies, "It has been a delightful journey. I couldn't have asked for better doppelgangers." So there you have it. So you can check out these pranks. And then there were some like cool GIFs. You can check out also Stuart Butterfield's account, who is CEO of Slack, at Stuart on Twitter. So that's that. And he just writes that, "I feel good about my decisions." I also found another thread on Twitter. I'm just like reading my Twitter impressions, that some of the co-founders of Heroku, which is a hosting application, so they reflect their view when Heroku was bought by Salesforce. And basically Heroku is still alive, is still kind of a great service. So a lot of people hope that will remain with Slack, that Slack won't just disappear. It will be a great app, because personally I remember the time when we were using Skype, and then everyone just switched to Slack because it was so much easier just to switch to Slack, and the feeling of the app is like really nice and smooth, and that Slack sound is really amazing. Also, another angle of it, what I read, is like Slack is basically backend of Slack is in PHP, I guess, and so a lot of people were like, a lot of developers don't like PHP that much. It's kind of old school language, it's not the future. But this Slack acquisition once again proves that doesn't matter which language you write in, it's just basically a tool. And there is even a blog post on Slack blog that it's called something like, "Why should you take PHP seriously?" So you can Google that and just read that on Slack blog, where they just discuss why they created this application in PHP and what's the future and stuff like that. So that's interesting. So there are different angles, and it's quite interesting to this story. Of course, there is a massive competition from Microsoft Teams, but I don't know. I never really like enjoyed Microsoft Teams that much as Slack. It's if you try to install Microsoft Teams, of course, maybe if you're using Office 365 package, it's easier, but it's just so much more hassle to just install the app and start using, while onboarding with Slack is so much easier. Yeah, but I think like one of the moments when we stopped using Skype and started to use Slack, that everyone was like, yes, we can use Slack for video meetings. But always this feature, video messaging in Slack, was lagging behind. And yeah, and I don't know if it was fixed at some point, because then Zoom just came out and everyone switched for Zoom with video messaging. So I think if Slack would fix this like video feature of its platform, it would be just an amazing platform. But these are just my thoughts. It's super subjective. I'm not like an expert. So yeah, if they fixed that, would be really great. What do you think, guys? Leave your comments below. So that's that. Yeah, so hope you enjoyed some of this information. There are more tutorial videos coming to youtube.com/Mr. Hack. That's my tutorial channel. Also visit mrhack.io on the web. That's a website where you can find different collections of tech tutorials. And obviously there is this podcast which you can find where you subscribe to our podcast: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all of that. So hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next videos.